Liz Truss attempts a comeback with her new book, 10 Years to Save the West, Lessons by the Only Real Conservative in the Room.
I am determined to deliver. I cannot deliver the mandate.
Liz Truss is elected.
Good afternoon.
Your Majesty, Prime Minister.
I think you're rewriting history here.
Well, your budget's being rewritten at the moment.
Let's get them removed.
I was incredibly sorry to lose him.
We will reverse almost all the tax measures.
I am a fighter and not a quitter. I am resigning as leader of the Conservative Party.
Put her down! Put her down! Who let her out? Who let her out that cupboard there? I told her to keep that cupboard shut. She's done enough damage. Who let her out the cupboard? Was it you, Keir? I told her not to let her out that. Honestly, she's a disaster. She's a disaster, that one, I tell you, disaster. If anyone's read her book, please put it in the comments. I need to see proof of this. Liz Truss, who on earth let this woman out of wherever the hell she was hiding? She is a walking catastrophe who can barely string a sentence together. She has the worst memory of any politician whatsoever. She has the worst credibility of any politician ever. And she did the worst damage in the shortest amount of time of any Prime Minister who had ever lived. Seriously, who on earth let her out that cupboard? It's like Keir Starmer's like, go on, Lizzie. Go and do whatever you like to do. Go write a book about your lessons from 49 days being in office. From 49 days. What was it? 7 weeks? 7 weeks. 7 weeks of being in office. Your only real accomplishment was that you managed to slightly oversee the Queen's funeral, which wasn't an absolute shit show. Despite the fact that Kwasi Kwarteng was doing some weird faces in the crowd. Liz Truss cannot coach anyone about any kind of political job ever. She is the shortest Prime Minister ever. And like any other real Conservative before her, she has embodied the Conservative values, the ones that say, the Conservative values that say, it wasn't me, it was him. It's not me, it's you guys. I didn't know anything about that. How did that happen? That's not my fault, is it really? I just can't believe it. Mortgages are up because of her. One of her first measures was to abolish the tax rate for the higher earners, never mind us little shitwits down here. And she's just an overarching disaster who thinks she's good at writing books. This book will get a hell of a lot of publicity, but for all the wrong reasons. And now it appears that she may have even broken the law by publishing advice given to her by our dear late Queen Elizabeth II. Liz Truss broke UK rules with book revealing Queen's advice. Liz Truss wasn't known for playing by the rules during her short-lived premiership. The Conservative former Prime Minister, has spent the week plugging her new book about her time in government. Now the UK government has waded in, declaring Truss broke its rules by failure to get approval to include private conversations with the late Queen Elizabeth II. While Truss submitted her book to civil service in the Cabinet's office for a review, a final sign-off was not sought. Truss wrote that Queen Elizabeth II told her to pace yourself. Pace yourself, Truss. Pace yourself, Lizzie. You want to make sure you last longer than that lettuce. Make sure you last longer than that broccoli. You want to make sure you definitely last longer than that cauliflower. In the meeting with the monarch, she said the Queen told her that being PM is incredibly aging. No. During their 20-minute conversation, which became the monarch's last official engagement before her death. This is a woman whose first Prime Minister was Winston Churchill, and her last Prime Minister is Liz Truss. What a shit way to go. Why we would not publicise the details when discussions, we did not agree to the final wording, so the author is in breach of the Radcliffe Rules. The Radcliffe Rules prohibit the publication of content which is damaging or destructive of national security, the UK's international relations, or confidential government business. Truss didn't respond, obviously. But Sky News cited a source close to the former Prime Minister saying the Cabinet Office confirmed that Liz complied with all the rules regarding national security and relations with foreign governments, but she wanted to ensure that the truth was told about the mini-budget and the roles of officials and the Bank of England. She believes this is in the public interest. What's in the public interest is Truss making money off this book and making some kind of accomplishment, albeit her own financial gain, from her short stint in office. Truss resigned after 7 weeks in office following a mini-budget which precipitated a market turmoil. In the book, she claims the UK's Treasury, the Bank of England, and its Office for Budget Responsibility engaged in a sustained whispering campaign against the tax-cutting policies. A sustained whispering campaign. They conspired against me. They whispered about me. They kept calling me Lizzie. You were a disaster, Lizzie. Admit the truth and just fuck off. We don't want to see you. You are emblematic of a wider Conservative problem. You are the pinnacle of the year of the 3 Prime Ministers. People thought Boris Johnson couldn't get any worse. People thought it must be uphill from Boris Johnson. They can't get any deeper. They've found the Conservative wreck of the Titanic at the bottom of the ocean. They've gone that far down. Liz Truss is a disaster. The Conservatives are a disaster. Boris Johnson was a disaster, and now Rishi Sunak is a disaster. Liz Truss was not elected. She was not voted for by the wider electorate, by the general public. She was voted by a few grassroots members of the Conservatives. She's an unmandated, disastrous fuckwit. And every time you see her having a conversation with anyone on Sky News or whatever, it makes you think, did she pass her GCSE English? How on earth is this woman any kind of politician whatsoever? How on earth did this woman ever procure being the international trade minister or whatever the fuck she did in all that time? How on earth did anyone think she'd be a good prime minister? It begs the question, doesn't it? Maybe the Conservatives do not know best, and maybe you should leave electing these officials to the wider public. Anyway, have you read her book? If anyone's read her book, please put it in the comments. I need to see proof of this. Has anyone seen her? Has anyone read her book? Anyone seen it? Anyone even bothered to look past the cover? She's done many books. This isn't the first one. And yeah, do you think what I think, that Liz Truss is a fucking disgrace, a catastrophic Conservative fuckwit that should never have been elected to office, and now we are all suffering because of it? But anyway, thank you for watching the channel. I've been Jake from Just Jake. As always, make love not war, because you might last longer in the battlefield than Liz Truss's premiership. Did you like the video? Then hit the subscribe button, or watch some more videos. It helps me out with the YouTube algorithm and helps the channel grow. Thank you very much.